Right.
Thank you for joining. And for the ones who don't know me or seeing me or hearing about me first time, this is Yaprak Soysal. And I do street and documentary photography. And I have a little presentation for today about my work that I do by pretty much strolling the streets. So most of the time, Philadelphia, sometimes New York, or in Wilmington, Delaware. Here, that's where I originally reside. Um, I I've been doing photography since 2000, pretty much 7. But I started with flowers, pretty sceneries, um, landscapes, family Kodak moments. But the deeper I got into it, then I wanted I just felt like I needed something more. I needed a little bit of a purpose, a little bit purposeful capturing what's happening around me. So that actually put me on the streets with my camera, started documenting life, not my life, but just what's happening around me, what's happening in the society. Um, so, and that led me to the journey to where I am today, to my current work. So I call this a presentation a random connections because basically that's what I do on the streets. I do random connections, and some of those connections sometimes do turn into friendships. And when you connect to people and then you exchange social media information, and then before you know it, then you just have a lifelong friend. So I'm going to start with, let's see. This is
Excuse
Mr.
me, before you
Hmm.
presentation, can you make the window bigger?
Oh, sure. Sorry, hold on. Keeps. Is this better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So, I would like to start the presentation with Mr. Mark. Mr. Mark, I ran into him, kind of got close to Reading Terminal one day. I had my Olympus camera with me, just walking on the street, and then I heard someone saying, "Hey, is that OM1?" And I looked around, and then he was the only one close to me. I said that, then I realized that he was the one asking the question. And I said, "Yes, that's OM1." I said, "That must be the new one." I said, "It is." Then he started telling me his story about how he owned an old OM1 back in the day, that how he started doing photography, how his mother actually uh, taught him how to photograph, and then he photographing his neighborhood, his neighbors, and then and he even said that sometimes the neighborhood was pretty much of a troublesome neighborhood, that crime happened, and he ended up actually taking photos of deceased before even police got there. And then he said he took the last photo of his neighbors, the neighborhood individuals, like, last moment, last photo of their loved ones. And he was a member of the homeless community of Philadelphia. And he at first was hesitant to have his photograph taken, saying he had better days and he didn't feel like it. But then after we chatted briefly, then he agreed to, that let me capture him, to document him. And so I'll always be thinking about him. So if you run into him, on the streets, just know that this is Mr. Mark, once was a photographer, and just keep him in your prayers. And then the second one is going to be these two young gentlemen. And this is the one in the car is his brother. I call these with clicks, with stories, because there's always a little story behind it. This one is Strawberry Mansion neighborhood that I guess one day I was driving by. I saw a mural, and then I got out of the car. Then I noticed them on the street. The mural was on the corner of the street. Then I noticed these young men, the music was out, like loud, and they were just kind of hanging out there with other members of the on that street. It was a hot summer, it was kind of like not a hot, but it was like it was a warm day. So I don't know why they were wearing long sleeves, but it was a warm day. And the community kids, other neighbors were out on the street, playing, eating, drinking, basically having a good time. And then I approached them. And at first they were just checking me out from a distance. And then when I approached them, they were just a little startled. I said, "Oh God, what is she doing here with the camera? Why is she coming up? What is she going to tell us? Or what is she going to ask us?" They were a little sort of like skeptical. Then I just said hello and then just started a small talk. And I told them what I do and asked if I could photograph them. And one of them actually kind of loved the idea and actually posed for me in front of the mural and gave me more than what I even asked for. And then I said, they told me that they're three brothers. And then one of them in the vehicle said he didn't want his photograph taken. He said, "No, I don't want it." He said, "That's fine, that's cool." And then these two brothers, I photographed them. This is one of the photos I took that day. And I always exchange, they said, "How can we get the photos?" And he said, "Sure, here's my Instagram information. Reach out to me and I will gladly, share the photos with you. Because if you're kind enough to share a piece of you and a slice of your life with me, then the least I can do for any individual who I capture, that I can, share the photo of you that you allow me to take with you." So I always share the photos, and sometimes I even do small prints for them. And if I go back to the neighborhood, I gave the prints for them to just, for their memories. They can just hang it on the refrigerator or put in a small frame, however they want to have it. Anyhow, so I shared the photo with them. And then later, I got a message from the third brother who didn't want his photo taken. And seeing that how, after seeing the photos, I think I sent them 4 photos, that how much he regretted not having his photo taken now that he has seen my work and he has seen what I've done. And then they said, "Well, maybe our paths will cross again on the streets, and maybe I'll capture you. Maybe the next time, when an old lady with a camera asks you, if she could take your photo, maybe next time you consider, hey, maybe yes." Anyhow, so that's the story behind that capture. And then here is another one of them. This is the brother. I said, "Well, this is the only photo I have. You can't see your face, but at least there is this one." And then this one is a little bit, special and dear to me. There's a little street, neighborhood street. It's kind of like Kensington area. Mostly the residents are Latin, Hispanic, Puerto Rican mostly. And Monday, my friend and I, we were strolling the streets, and then this gentleman saw us with the cameras and says, "Hey, come on over. We're having they were having a little kind of block party." And then they were apparently roasting a pig, the whole pig. I said, "You want to see the pig? We're roasting a pig. Come on over." And I'm vegan, so I said, "Not really. I want to see a whole big pig being roasted, but okay, it may make an interesting photo." They said, "We'll go check it out." So we went there, and I'm so glad we did. This lovely family, Miss Julia, I will get to her and her family later on, that they invited us. They just offered us food, they offered us drinks, the music was on. We just had a blast that day. And then then we went back to that neighborhood a few times. And these gentlemen, actually, I met them later, the second visit that I did. And they showed us the neighborhood a little bit in the corner. There was a little park, which is right now in the back, behind them in the backdrop. They call it a memorial park. They actually dedicated to individuals in the community, in that community, who lost their lives to, drugs or crimes. They just gave it a little tour. So it was nice. And when we felt safe, we felt very welcome. And when I went back to that neighborhood, I went to the park and then met with my friend there waiting for him so we can just, do another stroll around and say hi to the neighbors. And these two young gentlemen were there, and then kind of like eyeing us and a little, we felt like, I felt like I said, they're not really comfortable us being in the park, but they did, at first they didn't say anything. Then they approached us and asked us what we were doing at the park, that they just didn't, they wanted their neighborhood to be safe, and they were concerned that maybe we were there for drugs. We just made sure that, hey, this is not what we're doing. We're photographers. We were here in this neighborhood. And then the conversation started, and then they realized, oh, you were here before. Then they talked about us and about our previous visit there. And now they agreed to have their photos taken. And then you can see that they're saying that they're trying to make the neighborhood safe for their kids to play outside safely and, be safe and be kids without being worried about, them getting shot in the corner, or drug dealers, like getting any interactions with drug dealers. So they're trying to keep that little pocket of the neighborhood safe. And these are two of that group, the two gentlemen of that, these two gentlemen are part of that group, like a neighborhood watch, I guess you can say, unofficial neighborhood watch. So which was, nice. And that's how we met them. And if we go back there again, if we run into them, they always, say hi. And we know that we're always welcome in that neighborhood. So let's see. And then this is actually this is, that's this gentleman here. This day, he didn't want his photo taken the first day. And then later on, he agreed again, and this was his son. And when I took prints to them, I took like, I think 5x7 prints, and they so much appreciated the look in their eyes when you hand them the prints and then give them a piece of their memories, and you see that they appreciate it. It's just so fulfilling that reminds me of, this is why I do what I do. And that's his little friend. Again, they're all in the same neighborhood. And then this is Mr. Javier. He's the one actually invited us to the Peak House, as we call. And this is the first day we met. And then he had right on the side of his house has a huge, beautiful mural that he said it was his son that was deceased. As far as I know, he was a victim of gun violence. I photographed him in front of that mural, and I also gave him a print of that, him and with his son's mural in the back, and he almost was in tears. So he all know that every time he sees me, he greets me with a big hug. And I know that now in that neighborhood, I have many friends. So this is what it means to me, documentary street photography. Some people like candid shots, like random, more like a paparazzi style, I guess. But to me, I prefer to make connections with my subjects. I mean, if even just a glimpse, like even just one look, it could be just a little smile, it could be sign language, or it could be just full-blown conversation, or just being friends, or, gaining another friend. To me, that's what's more important. I mean, this is how I do it. Everybody has a different interpretation of their street photography style, but this is what I do. And because I find it much more fulfilling. And every time before I go out, I always tell everyone, if you're into photographing people, if you want to do documentary, humanist, street photography, just open your heart before open your landscape. And I've been to many neighborhoods, some deemed dangerous. I mean, am I doing this because I'm reckless? No, but when you are genuine and sincere, I think that everybody can read that. The way you approach people, they read your body language. They just somehow they greet you. I'm not. So I'm not just not going to go to a street or a neighborhood just because they say, oh, this many shootings happened, that happened, this happened, oh, don't go to North Philly or don't go to Kensington. So if an opportunity comes, I may be there, I may be strolling, I may be driving by, I may get out, talk to the people. And there are many good people who are just simply trying to survive in those neighborhoods as well. So it's not just some fancy neighborhoods, but I don't mind going into the actual neighborhoods and talk to the people, listen their stories, their struggles or their laughters, share their laughters. I mean, that's what it means to me, people photography or street photography. So this is Mr. Javier's, neighbor. He calls him his brother, actually. So they're so close. And this is Miss Julia. This family was roasting the pig that day. And every time we ended up getting invited to his daughter's 16th birthday party about a month ago or so. So that's how close we became, with the whole family. She is so lovely, generous, beautiful soul. I just, I really, really, really love Miss Julia. And she taught me the sign because I didn't know what it meant. And then she said that this sign means I love you. I said, I didn't know, but I said, I love you too, Miss Julia. She's a very kind, generous, again, person. And there's always food on her table, and she makes sure that you eat something. Even if I don't eat the meat, she makes sure I eat the rice or the salad or something. She won't let you leave without, feeding you. Let's put it that way. And this is also her family dancing and having a good time that day. And this is in Wilmington in the Hispanic Heritage Month. We have a parade here and followed by festivities. This lovely couple, they offered me food, drinks. They even offered me money for taking their photos. And I said, no, I don't do this for money. And then, so they said, okay, then, we have to give you something. So I gratefully accepted a bottle of Corona that day. I enjoyed it. It was a hot day. And then I photographed their kids. These are their 3 kids. And I actually printed the photos and tried to went back there to the house. I mean, I couldn't do it right away, but a few months later, I couldn't find them there. I still have their prints. The house that they lived, I don't know what happened. I don't know if nobody knew. I knocked on the next door neighbor, didn't know much. So I hope they're okay. I never had the chance to reconnect with them. And this was taken at Fletcher Street Urban Riding Club. And then Fletcher, the kids, the whole stables, Mr. Ellis is the co-founder, founder of Fletcher Street Urban Riding Club, his son Darren, his wife Naz. I mean, they're all very, very dear to me. The first time I went there, I couldn't even believe that there were stables in the middle of a city. But since then, a few times a year, I visit the stables. I love interacting with the kids. They sometimes have events, multiple events actually a year. But as much as I like to attend the events, I rather visit them on the days that they don't have enough. They're doing their daily activities, exercising the horses. They have goats, chicken, dogs, cats, you name it. And I see kids how they interact with the animals, the compassion they have for all the animals there, not just the horses, the way they take care of them. It's very inspiring. So that's the whole purpose of those stables being there. And this is Jiga, actually, one of the young members, the Fletcher. That day, he didn't intend to have this moment. This wasn't intentional. It's just kind of like all of a sudden we were chatting, and then the horse got up and got his, hind legs, and then it was a quick click. Like I hope I got that moment, because we were just, again, a few of us having a conversation. This happened, and luckily it turned out okay. Then it says, did you get it? Did you get it? I said, yes, I got it, but I don't know how it's going to turn out. But I got a few shots. Can you please send them to me? I said, okay, I'll send them to you. And that day when I got home, then I got a message from him. I said, can I see the photo? I said, Jiga, I haven't downloaded them yet. Okay. I said, when I do, I'll share them with you. And then about an hour later, he said, I'm sorry to bug you, but can I just see the photo, please? I want to see the photo before I go to bed. Can I please have the photo? So I said, okay. So I just, downloaded one of them at least, I said, I sent it to him. So, and the next time he saw me, I got a big hug from him. Again, just another, little story behind it, like a just heartwarming story to me at least. So, and that's him again. He is very young, but he can just handle that big, all those big horses so well. He's a good rider. And then this is also, I think this was also part of the member exhibition. This is Yasin with one of the horses there. And these are all, the place is full of kids. If you ever just wonder what they're about, want to, visit the stables, please do so. It is really an amazing place to be. And this is Mr. Ellis. He is the founder of the whole stables. This is actually his. It was his dream. It turned into reality. They are a nonprofit also. That's it. This is all Fletcher. And then this one day, I just, wanted to visit a different area than my sort of normal, usual go-to places. And I took a drive along the Germantown Avenue. But whenever, that day I was by myself. So like I would drive, if I see something, pull over, just kind of walk a block or two, and then just get back on the car. And then I noticed again this beautiful mural that Mr. Edward was, right in front of it. So I got out of the car. He told me all about the beautiful mural, and I said, well, okay. So then I said, may I ask to, is that okay? I said, is that okay if I take a portrait of you? At first, I kind of got this hesitant look. I'm not sure. I said, all right, but then he agreed. I said, I don't look good. I said, no, you look fine. So we started chatting. Then he started getting more into being photographed. He started feeling comfortable. I'm talking and I'm at the same time clicking. Like I started a dialogue because once you start a dialogue, just the rest comes. You just start talking, engaging in conversation, and then his real true character started coming out. That as you can see, the little poses here. And then I said, well, I want to see a big smile on your face. And it says, no, I don't have any teeth. I don't smile. I said, I won't smile. I won't laugh. I said, okay, that's fine. And then I said something and that cracked him up. And then he started, and then I got these, we started with this and then we ended with this. So that's what a dialogue, what's what a real conversation does. Once once you start the conversation, once you start the open the like the dialogue, and that may lead you to a whole different world. And this was his actually nephew. They were cleaning, they were both actually washing and cleaning his fancy vehicle that day. And this is Miss Trish and her son. Again, this was in this, we were on the way from Fletcher, heading back home. Then we noticed this little street. It had like a very small, one of those very narrow streets that one car can barely fit in. And they were few of the neighbors again out on the street. And we parked, we weren't sure if they were going to welcome us or not. But when the kids are playing, I had my dog with me. And the kids wanted to just, pet the dog and were interested. And then before we know it, we again started talking and they asked us what we were doing. And then they saw the cameras. And then before we know it, we started photographing them. And this is one of her sons, her younger son actually. And I love how, just just cute and warm, and the relation between them. She just got back from work, actually. She was tired, but then, just got back from work, where she was out with her kids. This is what her older son. And I just like their connection, this the mother son. It was just a beautiful moment they were having, and just was well worth capturing. And I also did get prints and stop by one day to hand it to them. And on the way out, she said, you watch your back around here. I said, there ain't many good people around here, so you watch your back. It said, okay, but they said, you're good people. You're around here, but you're good people. There are good people here. And he says, yeah, but then she just gave us a little warning. But again, there are good people living in those neighborhoods, and that's also a good proof of that. They're just hardworking and trying to survive, and taking care of their kids to the best of their abilities. And this one, it was one of the inner city rallies, protests, and this touched me because this young kid, a lot of kids, when they see the camera, they tend to either get shy or big smile, kind of almost like a fake smile, like it's good, kind of. But this little one had this mature look on this. It's almost like a grown-up face that just touched me. And he just gave me this peace sign. Nobody told him to pose it like that. It was just him, to me, almost like, I don't know, maybe he's 12, 13, I'm not sure, but he looked at least like 10, 20 years old. Like the expression on his face was so mature for his age. So that's how it got me. This one is in New York, as you can see. This is Aziz, actually. I had no idea who he was. I was just walking by. I took that really little greenway between the two bridges neighborhood. I spotted him. I actually captured him from both ends. Like, this is the Manhattan Bridge. This is the Brooklyn Bridge. He's just puffing, having a good time, enjoying the scenery. And then after I captured him, sometimes, like I captured him, he didn't know, but then I approached him, like I just kind of like with the camera. Finally, he noticed me, and I told him that I took his photograph. Says, oh my God, oh, may I see it? He said, there you go. And then it turns out that, he asked if I was around here, if I lived in New York. I said, no, I'm here just for a day. I'm visiting, I said. Oh, I said, I'm visiting too. I said, oh, okay. So he said, where are you visiting? I'm visiting, I'm from a different state. I'm from Delaware. I'm here for the day. And he said he was visiting from Netherlands. I said, oh, wow. He said, I'm here for a week. So I said, we're both visiting. I'm from another state, he's from another country, and then our paths crossed there, and he loved it. It's like I took many photos of him, and it says he appreciated. We connected on again Instagram, and he actually was called one of his friends, telling them about like the photo shoot he was having in this little 1 week long New York trip. And so again, if I ever go to Netherlands, I know at least I have one friend there. And it's nice to feel also like that, give you the feeling of like being appreciated. Like they appreciate what you do as much as I appreciate them allow me to do what I do. And this was in Chinatown after the firecracker ceremony celebration for the Chinese New Year's. This young gentleman, he was with his parents, and his dad was African American and his mother was Asian, I assume Chinese. So we just exchanged information. Then I shared all the photos I took of their son. And it was with the father, and then he responded saying, like he sent me a very nice, very warm thank you message, and saying that how much he appreciated what we do on the street, and what we do is how good it is that what we do for the community, that we share and we document the community and we share it with the people. So it was a nice thank you message just for the few photos that I took, you know. So practicing my passion and being appreciated so much, that's a good feeling. And this one was in New York again. I was just basically on my way to catch my bus, and I crossed the street, and this gentleman just was coming off of the subway station, off the ground, and he didn't even know he was on his phone. I was like, oh my God, that's just so eccentric looking person. I just clicked. Then he saw me, and then I got this. Like, he saw me, and this is what he gave me. I didn't ask for it. I wasn't even expecting it. And then I noticed that a lot of people, when you do photograph, there's a lot of love. Like, you see thumbs up, or you see peace signs, or you see hearts. So there's a lot of love and peace out there, at least within the people. So sometimes it comes out through photography, I guess, documentation. There you go. Here's peace signs again. And then this is this gentleman and his friend. This friend was visiting from New York, and he was from Philly. And we just, briefly chatted. And then this friend, again, was a little hesitant with the photography, but he agreed. And then he asked him, he says, I had a friend with me, are they going to be okay around here? I guess he thought that maybe it wasn't as safe, especially with the cameras walking around. And this gentleman said, oh, they'll be okay. We're all going to be okay. God is watching over us, so we'll be okay. So I said, okay, that was good to hear. So he assured his friend that we'll be okay. This is Rahim. This is one of my, in Germantown Avenue Adventure Day. That this is the last group that I photographed. It was such a character. I spotted a group of people in front of a corner liquor store. So I just kind of stopped, got out of the car, testing the waters, and he was very kind. We started talking, and I showed them a few photos that I took of him, and then they were playing music as well. So he was dancing, he was making all these expressions for me. Then he started, telling everybody who's walking by, hey, this lady taking photos, come on, join us. And then this is his friend Skippy. And Skippy said, told me about his brother who passed away, and then he wanted his photo be taken with him. And then Rahim said that, like, how would you share the photos with me? I said, sure, I would. But then since he had a little flip phone, and he said, I have YouTube, but I don't have any other social media. I said, well, I don't have YouTube. I tried to send him the photos through the phone, but I think nothing would go through. So I still feel bad not being able to actually share. I showed them on the camera, but I never had a chance to share the photos with him. So maybe one of those days. So we exchanged numbers. I said, I have his number, he has. So, but other than that, I guess it's either a connection or is it a data problem? I'm not sure. But I'm thinking of him. I hope he's okay. Maybe one of those days that I will be able to at least maybe give him the prints, reach out to him again. But I can't digitally share the photos with him. And this is another gentleman again, just random people just walking out of that little corner store, and they're all just like giving me little expressions. And this is Miss Anne, again, on Germantown Avenue at the corner. She was, we just connected, had a brief conversation. I always get the names at least to be able to identify them if they share it with me. So these are the clicks with little stories behind. And then this section is going to be the individuals, I call it Dire Straits. So this is Brandon. This was my very, very, very first visit to Kensington Avenue when it was, I think 2018, 17, 18, something like that. Homeless encampments, with homeless people with addiction, their encampments there pretty much throughout the whole avenue. And I didn't even know that existed. I had no idea when I agreed to go there with the photography meetup group, my first meetup group. That's how I started actually strolling the streets of Philadelphia with that group. And the organizer got in touch with a community organizer. He is a former addict who actually has his own how can I do it? Like a rescue effort to try to connect, find people on the street and tries to unite them with their families. And so he was actually walking with us through Kensington Avenue. And this is the first time I'm seeing this in real life. I'm not on the screen, but like I'm just looking at I found myself in the middle of it. And a few people in the group, they just kind of like kept clicking. And then it just didn't feel right with me to just take a photo and just walk away. I needed to know more. And he was the only one actually. It was early in the morning, so everybody was sort of just getting up, not quite awake. So this is Brendan. I still remember his name. I shook his hand. I introduced myself. We chatted, and I had a granola bar in my bag. I just offered that to him. I felt like I needed to do something, and so. But by the time we were done chatting and I photographed him and I looked around and my group was like 2 blocks away from me. They just left me. They kept walking, clicking. And I had to run and catch up with them. So it was just amazing to me that no one actually took their time to at least talk to one person. But I hope he's okay and he's still alive and hopefully he cleaned up his act, maybe. I hope. Anyhow, so this is Mr. Adam. This is Mr. Adam. This is municipal building. He had a nice, actually, a tent there. He said that most winter time he was planning. Actually, he did go to Reading to his sister, but then the weather comes out, and then he's probably on the street again. I haven't seen him again though, but it was around Christmas time. I spotted him. We chatted a little bit, and I took photos of him, and they were having the Christmas like a market bazaar across by Dilworth Park. So I just grabbed the meal and took it to him and said, "Oh, and you didn't have to do that." I said, "It's okay. Like I just wanted to do it." So again, and then I ran into him again. A few weeks later, he was
recording.
and then this one in New York. This was probably my very first homeless individual that I photographed. It was in Bowery. He was sitting there. He was actually looking at me. I've spotted him, but I didn't, think of taking this photo. But I saw his eyes on me for some reason. I just we made eye contact, and then I pointed out the camera to him, to saying like, "Is it okay to photograph?" And he just nodded his head, and then I took this photo. He had this such grace on him, like this soft smile, despite the circumstances he's in. He just was sitting there so gracefully. Also, like he touched me, so I'll always remember him. I'm not sure if he knew English because I asked him a few questions, but he just kept nodding his head and smiling. And these are with just, I call it with clicks. With clicks was just that just little click that I was walking by, just said hello, good morning, hi, and then it was this quick clicks, like he was walking and just brief conversations. Again, like see all these peace signs, thumbs up. And this is by the municipal building again. This is one of the many photos I took of them actually individually. This lady, she is also a member of the homeless community, but this guy was just waiting there for his bus stop, and we just kind of talked and connected. And these were two strangers until that point. And with my photography, I guess they kind of became friends. So this is Fletcher Street again, right in front of the stables. So again, another heart sign. So there's love everywhere. And these two individuals. This is Wilmington, Delaware. This is West Philly, but they were kind enough to actually let us, like, invite us to the porch of their house. We just got up there again, had some conversation about them, about their lives, and we were invited. I mean, we didn't want to go into that, but we were invited up to their porch. They felt comfortable with us to have us step on the porch, have their photos taken. So these moments are special to me. And this is somewhere on Lehigh, Lower Lehigh Avenue. This is hot summer day, the sprinkles are on. And community members, again, enjoying the hot weather with some cold beverages. And this is Miss Trinity. And I saw this mural, like the wall art, the street art, unity in the community. But I said, like, I wish there was a person here. I wish that I could incorporate a community member in this unity in the community street art. And then she was just walking by. And at first she didn't want it. And I said, well, I need a person there. Do you mind if I photograph you? She said, then she agreed. And again, I got her name, Trinity. I'll always remember her. Again, I hope she's okay, because she also lives on the streets, unfortunately, sadly. And this is a corner store in North Brook. Again, we were just walking by and just again approached. It's just small conversation. I ended up with this. This is a little store, a corner store owner. I went into the store to get a few things. When he saw the camera, he said, hey, you don't want to take photo? You don't want to take my photo? I said, sure, I'll take your photo. I said, I shoot on the street, but why not? So here's another peace sign. And this gentleman was in somewhere in North Carolina in a like a vintage consignment store that I thought he was quite interesting. I chatted a lot while my daughter was walking around and checking some old records or camera gear. And he said that he does everything what his wife does. And he said that he asked where we were from. He said, we're from Delaware. I said, oh, okay, I've been to North. I said, okay, so where have you been? Did you go to Delaware? Have you been to Delaware, Philly, or North, New York? I said, no, I went to Virginia. So that's as north as he went. I said, okay. So we just a brief conversation. I talk to everyone, I guess. Store owners, homeless people, and everywhere. I just like I'm a people person. So this lady, it was just on Marcus Street. I spotted her, just these little artwork in the background, and she was just gorgeous standing there. And again, I approached her and I asked if I could photograph her. And this was her friend. They were just chatting about something, I guess I don't know what they were talking about it, but I approached them and photographed them, and I shared the photos through Instagram. This lady in New York, again in Lower East Side, then it was just the light was right, the deflection, the light, everything. And when I asked to photograph her, she had her glasses on, but at that moment she just pulled them. It was just the right thing, perfect thing. I didn't ask her to do it, she just did it. So it gave me gave me more than what I actually hoped. And she told me about she had a beautiful handbag, how she designed the handbag, the dress, she made her own dresses. She says she has she's involved in art, and she makes dresses, purses, wallets, everything. And she just gave me her card. So that's how we connected. This is during the Puerto Rican parade. This is the after party actually in the neighborhood on Lehigh, between 5th and like 5th, 6th, kind of in that area. It was that day, And this young soul was in a skate park behind the art museum. at first, again, you get this, and then after connecting and talking, you get the heart. So that's why it's more important to me. Like, it's, just talk to people, don't just click, but maybe try to just say a few words and try to get to know them and just get a glimpse of who they are. That will make your photographs even more interesting, actually. And this gentleman, Chinatown, I'm almost on the ground hoping there was a little puddle there by the curb, and I'm hoping some people will walk and I'll get their reflection. I'm really, really like low, waiting, sitting there and waiting. And then he just walked past me, and I guess he must have noticed the camera at some point, and he crossed the street and then gave me this, and then got up and kept walking. So I so much appreciated it. I didn't have a chance to talk to him or got his name, but it was just perfect. Sometimes I guess you get lucky. And this young man, I was on the Schuylkill River walkway. I spotted him at that, like, from that lower level. He was up there by the skate park. This attire from a distance, I said, oh my goodness, I must get there. And he's just listening music, doing crazy, interesting moves, dances at the very edge of it, so I can see it from below. And then I got there, but he's not really seeing it. He's so much into his own world. Again, his earbuds are in his ear. And I finally got his attention, and then he removed his, like, he's turned off his music. And this was sort of COVID era time. Like, we're just getting back to normal. We're not back to normal kind of times. So I took a lot of photos of him, when he's moving. But somehow those eyes, the hat, the art museum in the background, everything came together with this. I so much appreciate it. I love this eccentric, interesting people. These are in Fishtown again, totally different years, different dates. But him also was just standing there, and I asked if I could photograph him, and then I got this pose with this mural, everything just tied together to me. But if I never asked, and if I tried to sneak in and try to photograph him, I would have never gotten that. So this is one of the skaters in the municipal building area, which is sadly I don't know what's happening there, but at least I know that all the sculptures and artwork will be gone and it will never be back. They will ruin that place like they did the Love Park. But that's what they do, at least in my opinion. The skaters, apparently, they will have a little place for skateboarders to skate once they are done with whatever they are doing there. But in the meantime, they are actually made a little hub for themselves below the street level. If you're in that area, just look down right next to it. You may see some of the skaters skating if you want to just go down and chat with them and photograph them. They made themselves a few little benches to just slide on when they're skating, but they don't have a whole lot of room up there. Every time I go, I just love that hair. I've taken so many photos of him. And actually, this in the back scene, this little tent was Mr. Adams. That was his tent, his blue little shiny tent is there. He was also one of the skate members. And this young gentleman, he's one of the skateboarders, and he also does film photography. He's one of the few actually skaters, the municipality building area, who is involved in film photography. This young generation, it's a cool thing to do, like my daughter, because they've never done it, so they like the vintage. And this is, again, was a food delivery guy on the bicycle. Not this past one, but last year's, Chinese New Year's festivities. After that, I just spotted it and then photographing. And this is one of those unexpected moments, on South Street in Philly. We hear this loud noise. We're just wandering around, and then all of a sudden the people are cheering. There's no music, but we just keep hearing cheers. So what is going on? Apparently, they closed a portion of the block or the street. They put a huge screen, and it was the soccer match of US versus, Britain, England. And they were watching it on the big screen, and everybody was cheering. And this was, one of the people who were there to just watch this big match. I think it was the World Cup, I assume, maybe the finals. I don't remember, but there were quite a few individuals on the street watching this. And this was again in one of those South Philly strolls. I just love the character, his glasses, his hat. Again, it's just a little quick click. Just we looked at each other, and it was sometimes just this, that could be just this sign language, point out the camera, is it okay? I'd like to have some form of, like, it's okay. I need to know that it's okay that I captured that moment, that frozen moment in time that actually belongs to them. I like to have that. That's how I feel. This is, I think, the last year's Pride Parade. I love that festival. It's one of the best, like street festivals. So many lovely people around. And this one again on just random walk. At that moment I was just walking. Then I noticed him and the reflection is just, everything was great. And for that moment, just spontaneous. It was quick. Point out camera, he nodded. He had his cigarette. Everything was perfect. He just nodded. I clicked. That was it. Basically, it's just this quick instant click moment. And then this gentleman was actually at a concert, in the outdoor little mini concert at a festival, and he was kind of like assisting them with the stage setup, everything. And during the concert he didn't have much to do, so he was taking smoking a cigarette. And I was there actually to photograph one of the bands who were going to take stage. And everybody was talking in the backstage. The band was there, the band members were there, other organizers were, everybody was in the kind of behind the stage. But he was just there. Nobody was talking to him. Nobody was interested in talking to him. So I approached him. We, had a brief conversation, and I did photograph him, that way. But again, I've never seen anybody talking to him. He was just there, did his job, and left, basically. And this was in Fairmount Park. No, Lemon Hill. Sorry, this is in Lemon Hill. This, gentleman came with his, and then he had to hold on to the tree because his bike was missing that little piece, I think, that he can't, like, if he stood on it. I don't know the bicycles or the little trick bikes, but his bike was missing a piece, so he either had to put his foot down or had to hold on to the tree, he told me. I just loved the way he smiled. I watched him having a conversation with his girlfriend. He did this to me because I love the way it looked, with the tree and everything, but it's posed. So I was looking for something a little bit more genuine, a little bit more natural, a little bit more authentic. And he had the greatest, smile. So I just waited. I let them talk. Sometimes I talk, I say stuff, I ask questions, but at the same time, I'm clicking, I'm taking photos. I let them just kind of like get relaxed and give me what I really am looking for, what I really want out of them. And this time he had the girlfriend, perfect. They were just chatting, talking, and then I got this one. So I prefer this one over this one because how genuine it is. This is not a forced smile. This is just a genuine smile. That's more meaningful to me. And have I never do clicks without clicks? Yes, I do. Here are a few examples. I can't miss this. He's walking, I'm walking. I don't have time to do too much of talking at that moment in the crowd. So again, this is mummers. These individuals I never really connected, but the moment was just so right that I did not, or even if I wanted to approach them, that this moment would have been gone. Like this moment would have been gone. This one or this one, or I didn't want her to lift her head. This was perfect. I didn't want her to smile. This one also. I love the hat, the way he's sitting, this little smile face on his shoes. This moment would have been gone if I approached him to ask him to photograph him. So there are moments that I do click without clicking. And this one, he had to, like, this was the perfect angle. If he moved a little bit, I would have missed this real reflection there. So I had to let it go. I had to click it. And it was crowded. There were so many other people around him, actually. These moments too, just, the silhouettes, perfect. On the subway train itself, actually, these are in the train. There were other people. I'm trying to shoot in between people. This was just perfect. Even if I wanted to take a photo like this, even if I told them that I wanted to capture them, I don't think I would have gotten that. It would have ruined the moment. So I do sometimes. This one also. These are all little subway clicks. And this was Mermaid Parade. One time that I attended, and this was in North Philly. It just reminded me almost like a Michael Jackson pants and the socks, and he was just perfect. And I don't do color much, but I thought that it's just these two, or some of them I keep the color. Otherwise, I think color is a distraction, takes away from the actual moment, but sometimes it helps to bring out the story. And then I call this group drive-by clicks. And sometimes they could be sitting at a stop sign, they could be sitting at a red light, or just simply driving, and then you connect with them and they slow down. This one, right in the middle of, like, right by this is municipal building, right by like the city hall. They were just actually at the moment driving slowly in the traffic, but the music was loud and banging, and I got this. And then this one again, these little drive-by clicks, so people don't really have to be just walking by, watch out the vehicles, buses, bicycles, motorcycles, anything on the street. It doesn't necessarily people have to be walking or sitting, they could be driving or riding other vehicles. This is, let's see. And then I call this the universal language. They say like the best language is the one that helps you to surpass the language. So these are those stories. Basically, there's a language barrier. They none of these individuals knew English enough for us to be able to communicate, either with few words. I don't know Spanish, just few words. I can say hola, como está, but that's about it. So mostly a little bit sign language, here and there few words, but they see the camera, so they know what I'm doing. And they sometimes they are hesitant because they may not be documented, they may be undocumented immigrants here, especially the ones at the 9th Street Market. And these individuals, at first they said no. And then this is the first one who agreed. And then this is his son, he wanted his photo. And then he agreed to have this photo taken with his son. And I send these to them, all of them. Again, sometimes they're hesitant, but then at some point, they just agree that, they realize maybe I don't mean any harm. I just wanted them to have the photos. Again, I shared it with them. And this was in Chinatown. Again, I tried to say a few things, but he was so good. He was smoking a cigarette. He just had this genuine smile on his face, but didn't say much. So I assumed that maybe there was a language barrier again. This gentleman was again, he was taking a little break from his food deliveries. English was a little broken, but it wasn't too bad. We were able to communicate, and again, I shared the photos with him. This young gentleman, it was cold. It was MLK Day. It was so cold, and it was actually, there were flurries. I went to Brewery Town after the Girard College event, and I'm walking there in my, even with gloves on, the camera got like it was so cold, the camera was like ice cold, and with the gloves, even I couldn't feel my fingers, it was that cold. And he's sitting there with his sleeveless shirt, waving at me. Oh my goodness. I took few photos of him. He was taking a smoke break, and he was able to tell me, we were able to go, I could understand that they were doing a house renovation project with him and his crew, and he was out there in his little muscle shirt taking a break. But look at the smile, like he just greeted me. He, with a little broken English, we managed to communicate a little bit. I so much appreciated him. And this next group is, I call it connecting with youth, more like teenagers. So this young man, it was at the end of the 9th Street Festival, heading back home where I parked. And then him and his friend were there. This is his friend. They asked to be photographed. And then I said, well, we wanted you to be you. I always tell sometimes if someone asks me, so what do you want me to do? Should I pose? What should I do? I said, no. I said, just be you. Show me who you are and give me how you want to be represented. You know, this is your photo. You show me how you want the rest of the world to see you. What do you have a message? How do you want the others see you? Show me that. You don't have to smile, you don't have to do anything, just be you and represent yourself, is what I usually tell them. And that's how he represented himself. Not the first time I got the finger, but sometimes that mischievous finger is not like, actually not towards me, but you can see it's just, maybe it's towards the world, who knows. And that was his friend. And this was in front of the municipal building. These were a youth group, went there for like marching against the youth-led march against gun violence. So these are the photos I have taken, some of them at least. This was again after another festival, post-parade festival. I just love it. I just love these moments. They're just being themselves and being comfortable. They feel comfortable with me enough just to be themselves. That's a good feeling. And this group of people, it was one of those pop-up Halloween stores on Market Street in Philly. They were just taking their breath with their, I guess, puffs. And I started talking to them. They said, that's what they said, if they work at the store temporarily, you know. I said, well, so what's next after that store? So they're gonna find another place to work, another, you know, small job to work. But, you know, I was just a brief 10-15 minute conversation with them. I offered them the photos again. But just a slice of life on the streets of Philly, you know, Philadelphians. Oh my goodness, these, again, this is from Brewery Town freezing day adventure. These girls were awesome. They were so full of life, and they just gave me all these beautiful photos. I captured a lot of photos of them, but these are the ones I, you know, picked. They all see how they are individual characters. They all are different. You see their characters in all their individual photos. Some are more girly, some are more like kind of greedy. It's just, and this group, I first spotted this artwork on this old building, sort of abandoned old building on Germantown Avenue. I saw this. I said, oh no, I want to document this because the building is going to be gone. So this little beautiful artwork. So whenever I see street art, I try to at least capture, even with my phone, I like to capture because some of those buildings get knocked down and that artwork vanishes with the building. And then they were there was a bus stop right in front of it. And they were at the bus stop waiting for a bus. So I managed to pull them into the photo. And these are the few images I got of them. See, again, they're all different. You see different characters, but somehow they just kind of became friends and nice group. But you see their individualities in those single photos versus their group photo. This is another city stroll. There are so many hand signs I need to learn. I don't know some of them, but just right by the city hall. This was a Cambodian New Year's festivities I attended. A friend of mine, she's Cambodian, so she invited me to their temple during their New Year celebration. So again, peace, see, love, peace. That's pretty much all the message, like the people send love and peace messages through like everybody. It's everybody. That's the message they want to spread, I assume. I hope that maybe the whole world will be in peace soon, but again, another peace sign. There's always either thumbs up or peace or heart. It's gives me a hope that at least the youth, even not just adults, but the youth is on the right path, maybe. Here's another one. And then this, I call this next group the instant eye connection. That one little brief second in the crowd just walking by. Again, this was the soccer match. This was a Second Street festival in Northern Liberties. This was a walk by, I think somewhere in neighborhood. That one little instant eye connection. That's it. Again, lots of peace. Italian festival. This was Bushwick in Brooklyn. All these beautiful expressions by people. This was Mummers. This looks like actually he's looking elsewhere. If you come, he was actually looking at me. He was seeing me through, but because of his glasses, you may not be able to tell. But this was Mermaid Parade, and this is Mummers Parade. This was behind the art museum. They were protesting so that they can be unionized. So she was taking a break from that little rally of the staff members there. This is back home in a park, back home in Turkey. Again, at another festival. These are all little just brief eye contact moments through my strolls. Food trucks are great too. Most of the time they are very cooperative. They all, so far at least, this is the infamous 2 Street party of Mummers Day Parade. These are spectators. And he was just doing his thing, and then here we finally made that eye connection. This is on Brooklyn Bridge. I got yelled at, actually. He was yelling at me for being on the bike lane. I just saw the dog and him, and it just perfect. And it was so crowded. And for me to be able to get a good capture of him, I just needed to step in the bike lane, and I got yelled at by him. And this is connecting with kids. Sometimes some of us, maybe a little hesitant to take photos of the kids, but I always make sure that there are parents around, or at least an adult who is at the moment, with the kid. It could be aunt, could be big sister, could be a chaperone, somebody to at least give me a consent to be able to photograph the children. So there's, even if you don't see the adult in the photo, but there is an adult, then I usually, like 99% of the time, I take the consent of an adult. If parent, preferably parent, but if not, at least an adult who was with the kid at the moment, to photograph them. Because even if, if I had a small child and some random person coming in the street and taking photos, I would want to know what's going on and who that person is and why, and I do offer them I noticed them playing on the street, for example, these in the neighborhood. And I didn't see any adults, and I told them, go get a parent, go, one of you get your mother, get your father, somebody. Because they asked me to photograph them, and I said, I will photograph you, but I need your parents' consent. So get me somebody here, please. So one of the moms came out and they gave me an okay. So that's how we proceeded with. They were on the street, they wanted their photos, and I asked, there were two siblings, so four of them, but there were two siblings, and I made sure to just talk to the parents before I captured them. These are all festival moments. I mean, this may again seem that this is the father, and again, these are all taken with consent. But I tell them, said, like once I have the consent, once that's granted, if throughout the festival, when I see them, I continue photographing them to be shared with them as well, of course. And I took, I took the first one, and this is the second one while they weren't looking at me. I love photographing kids because they're just, so genuine. Mm. And this was my Lancaster PA. He sure was a cute little character. These were Amish kids, and there was, I assumed, was a mother, an older lady there while they were waving at me. And I stood there, they were waving, I pointed out the camera, she looked, they usually are not very welcoming when it comes to being photographed, but she didn't say anything, she didn't say no, she didn't, she just looked. It was clear I had the camera, and the kids again kept waving at me, and I didn't get any resistance, I didn't get any no, so I clicked. And the end. So sorry, I had a lot, so I hope you all enjoyed and had a chance to kind of understand why I do what I do. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Hey, Yaprak, this is Mike
Hey.
Burney. Can you hear me?
I can.
Wow. You've created some really great work.
Thank you.
Truly beautiful. Great composition, great lighting. I just got to compliment you on what you've created there. Just one more thing I want to mention, though. Maybe what I admire most is your work ethic. You seem to be out photographing all the time, and that truly is admirable. So, thank you for sharing the presentation. It's
Thank
really great.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Because I just but I know I can only go out to shoot on the weekends because I have a Monday through Friday job, so I can get a paycheck so I can pay for the camera gear. So, so I wish that I could just do this every day, but I guess since I'm limited with the weekends, and then also I need some form of good weather, not frigid weather, not rain. So every time, every chance I get, I'm out there. Like if it really truly like makes me happy. Like it's almost like my escape when I go out. If I'm kind of like mad at something, if I'm not feeling good, when I'm on my way and then to photograph it at the end of the photo day, when I'm going home, I'm just feel that contentment. Like I'm happy. So it's a stress relief for me. It's a happiness for me. So I almost sometimes crave, because if I didn't have a chance to go out to take photos, I at least walk around the neighborhood, find something. If not, at least my dog. But I crave for that sound of the shudder. I like, some people silence it, but I want to hear the shudder. It sounds crazy, but I like that, and
Mhm.
I crave for that. So,
That's great.
and
I think
I love
your
like, I
ability
love
to,
people. And I love people. I love meeting new people, like new faces, new characters. I wish, I could just stroll the whole world.
yeah. Well, your ability to connect with people is special. I don't know, maybe consider photojournalism or something.
I wish. Now I regret. I wish I could go back, but if
Oh,
I have to read, if I ever have a chance to read, have a do-over, that would have been the profession I would have been in. Yes, that kind of. I had the opportunity, but I went to a different direction. But if I had known what I know today, or if I had known that I would end up where I am today, like with photography, with everything comes with my photography, that I would have taken a different route. But
Well, my photography is retirement. I've retired from my lighting design career. Now I am a photographer. So if I can do it at my age, you can do it when you're ready to pack it in at the law firm.
oh, I mean, at least, I mean, I have this. I mean, I don't, and also sometimes I want to be only with this. They ask me, so, oh, do you want to do this? I don't do events. I don't do. I mean, would I like earn an extra money? Yes, but I don't want to turn this into a money making business, because I really don't have time for it. First of all, I say, like, I don't want to go out shooting weddings and the couples, and that's not what I want to do. And like, if I was a photographer earning my living through photography, yes, then I would need to have to make some money. I would do it, but I already have some other form of job, and I do what I do for the rest with the limited time that I have, the way I want to do it. So that's why many people ask me to photograph this and that, and I said I always turn them down. I said no, because I don't want to turn this into also a money-making business. Then how am I going to escape from everything? I won't have that joy when I do it that way. So
You call it making sausages. And I just got married. We hired a photographer from the outside, and you have to have insurance and a whole lot of other stuff too before you can do it. In other words, there's a lot of startup costs with it, a lot of continuing costs.
yeah, I mean, I've done one time, local photographer, her second shooter apparently got sick, and she was looking for one. Then the meetup group that I belong to, they showed my work to her. This was way back. And then she asked, and I said, okay, so let me see what this is about. I did it, and I did not like it. It's not just, I went home, and then, and another friend requested, because they wanted a photojournalistic effect, like kind of photography. This was again way before all this level of work started. And just as a favor, I mean, I got paid, but his daughter's wedding, I like the shooting, but then you got to sit down. You have limited amount of time. You go home with 5,000-6,000 photos. You have to work on them. They want everything right away. Then you have to do an album. So I said, no, this is too much. This is stressing me out. I don't want this. No. So
You probably had a second question about how you take photos. I've seen it for a while. You tend to have the child's eye view, and a lot of people remember the Little Rascals cartoons, the Little Rascals shorts. If you
Hmm.
watch them on YouTube or anywhere, you see it's all done from the height of a 4-year-old. Do you find that that gives less intimidation when you're down on the ground shooting up?
First of all, I'm kind of like in a height challenge, I'm sure. 5 feet anyway. So, but I mean, low angle can be good and challenging at the same time, because when you just go low angle, then you kind of tend to start shooting against the light too. So it's kind of like you're gonna find that sweet spot. But sometimes the impact of it is sometimes it helps you eliminate the background. But sometimes, especially, I love low angle with low angle with a wide angle lens, because then you get that this dramatic effect of it, especially when people are in motion and when they're walking, or if I that's what I usually do sometimes.
I like the idea too. I don't mean monopolize that. Sometimes you'll talk to people for a couple minutes before you'll take their picture,
Mm-hmm.
just to get them relaxed with the camera. And
Yeah. And sometimes, like I'm constantly walking, like changing. Sometimes, when I'm talking to them, I may change my angle. I may go to the right, I may go to the left, we may turn around, and we're just kind of trying to play with the light a little bit. And I never claim to do like what I do. Like I never claim that to be art. Like I'm not after artwork. I'm not, I don't consider myself an artist. I guess it may sound a little cliche, but like a visual storyteller. I'm a documentarist. So sometimes the lighting may or may not be as perfect. I mean, it happens. The moment is there. The moment is there, but the light may not be as perfect. Sometimes, yeah, then you have to go low or high or get into different shapes to catch the moment, so that the light can be at least decent enough to get a good photo. But to me, what matters is the story. To me, what matters is that moment. And sometimes even the things may not be as perfect as far as background or the lighting, but sometimes I just still capture it and try to, without altering, try to enhance it through post-processing. But I don't take things out of my photos or acting to my photos or spend hours in front of a computer try to do this. I just don't do that. I don't even have time for that. I don't even enjoy sitting at the computer all the time, like longer extended period of time to do extensive edits. Because again, at the end of the day, this is a capture of documentation of a slice of life, that moment of this person. This is not some fancy artwork. I mean, I don't look at it that way. Let's put it that way. Some
I
people are
would-
too technical about this. I think this. I'm not that technical. Like my main focus is not the technique of it. Then I lose the to me, that kind of like that would make me, if I worry about too much of that technique, then I would just get out of the zone and get out of that moment. I would lose that moment. So, but that's me.
I had an extended portrait assignment back when I was in school taking photography, and I can see how that comes in useful for what you do. And there's the studio photographers where everything is manicured down to the last detail, like the angle, the umbrella holder. And what you capture everything, as they would say in audio, like a studio monitor, you're capturing the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's all there.
Yeah. So anybody else have any questions, or all good?
All right. Thank you so much for sharing those photos. They're really amazing.
Thank you. I mean, there, since I, prepared this, actually, I've been constantly, taking, I'm probably connected to, many of you through social media, so you can see the new ones there. I didn't want to take too much of the time because it's hard to really select, because I'm constantly creating And then I put together, I said, let me add this, let me add this. No, let me take this out because it's too much. So
Well, they were all really, really great.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
And
it.
Can I just say one thing? I just want to say thank you for capturing all these people who otherwise might be lost to history. I hate to say, I mean, that might exist as a social security number or just an entry in some employer log somewhere, but they're people, especially when they're poor or homeless. People are going to overlook them, but at least now, at least in the future, there's a chance that people could look back and see these were real people. They had real lives, they had real stories. And
Yes.
even if you're only getting to share a little snippet of that, it's very important. And another thing, it was funny that you said about you like to hear the sound of the shutter, even though that's sort of a vestigial thing anymore. You know, like you can disable the sound on your phone, but it's nice as a photographer to hear that sound. And I actually, when I am lucky to shoot with an SLR, I like to shoot with a Nikon because I like the sound the shutter makes. Canon cameras probably have the best reputation for like the quality of the lenses, but if you take a picture with a Canon camera, the shutter sounds weird. So I know it's like a weird reason to prefer one brand over the other, but yeah,
I mean, I did, you know, like I did put it to silence, I think, a few times for the nature. I was like birds and a deer. I was in the mountains for a weekend for a hiking trip. And that's when I only silenced it. But then I'm clicking the shutter. I don't even feel like I'm taking the photo because I'm not hearing anything.
right, exactly. And even if you see the little like thumbnail preview pop up, yeah, it's not.
Yes,
it's not.
yes. So yeah, I'm
Thank you.
addicted
I
to that
enjoyed this.
sound.
Mhm.
Although it's like the mirrorless is different, you know, the
Mhm.
click, you know, the shutters, the sound of shutter, it's different. I like, you know, the old film camera shutter is a lot better. Chkling,
Even
that
my
beep
digital
sound.
SLR, I mean, it still lifts the mirror. It still
Yeah,
makes
even
that
my
sound.
Nikon SLR versus Nikon mirrorless, it's different. But still, it's a sound versus no sound. So I
Right.
don't usually silence it.
Mhm. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
No one else?
All right.
All right. Thank you so much again.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Everyone.
Bye.
Great photos.
Oh, thank you, my friend.